So the way that I was achieving that was I was using um, a POJO, a plain old Java object. I was retrieving the data from Google, filling that data into a plain old Java object, using the plain old Java object to pass data around. So I pass it as a parameter into a constructor or into a method where I return it as a value, and then that object can then be referenced and its values can be returned. And that can be populated into things like the list or the book display. So I found that POJOs are very useful for transporting data around. I actually intend to implement the same method of data transfer in the next section, which is the CRUD system or CRUD subsystem. In the CRUD subsystem, I'm partially doing it and partially not. It's still very early days. It's very boilerplate. Although it is partially functional. So I'll give you a little bit of a display as to what I've achieved in the past few weeks. Um, yeah, so I've actually taken on work of other students in my group because I don't get any feedback from them, and I've decided that I'm pretty sure I'm capable of doing it myself. So to start, the functionality is not complete yet. It's still a work in progress, obviously. It's not the end of the project. So yes, we can add a book. If I add a book, for example, I'm just going to give it a number. Numbers. Yeah, okay, fine. Submit it. And as you can see, it was successful. I'll create a pop-up at a later stage and I can close this. Uh, Here's the main window, yeah. The same thing for users. We can add users. I'm just going to make it like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, and submit that. There isn't really validation or anything right now other than checking to see if some of the... No, it doesn't even have a validation to check if some of the fields are blank yet. That'll come later. This is obviously still very boilerplate. Then we can query the database to list all the available books. Obviously, this is also a temporary UI in the meantime, just for display purposes, proof of concept. And you can just hit OK or enter, either or works. The same thing works with the user list. You can display all the users currently logged onto the system or currently signed up to the database system. There's the character we added. Okay. We can update books. I've hard coded the title Harry Potter. Just haven't had a chance yet to add a nice UI for that. So it was just for testing functionality mainly. Same thing for user. And then you can delete a book. So okay, let's try and delete a book that I know doesn't exist, like Treehouse. Oh, has. Yeah, doesn't delete it because it doesn't find it because it's not there. The same thing works for users. Let's try and search for a book, like, I don't know, what was it, New Moon? New Moon, finds the book, returns some values. This was a temporary display. I have since replaced with this. The design is not finalized yet, but it's way better than what we had in the previous Google Books API. So this data is coming from the database, except for the images, they're being pulled by a URL. Yeah, and then we can close this one. We can search for another book, for example, Hyperion. And we got that temporary data back as well. And yeah, we get a nice display of the details of the book, including a nice image again. Of course, again, these details are coming from the database, and this is coming from a website. And then search for users. We can search for a user, let's say Brian. It returns a username Brian Michael Bendis, and returns the rest of his details as well. So this is the basic core functionality of the CRUD system up and running. Yeah, so I hope you appreciate it. Enjoy. And a nice little goodbye message. Thank you. Goodbye.